WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. A wild chase through 3 counties and 2 states, with deputies shooting out the tires of the suspect who was eventually arrested after breaking in a home. That pursuit started in Hamilton and went through Caledonia before coming to an end about 2 miles across the state line in Alabama. Our Jory Talley was with deputies today as they searched for the suspect. She now joins us live in the studio with more. Jory.
Monroe County Sheriff Cecil Cantrell says a crime reported here in Lowndes County had his deputies looking for a suspect about 8 a.m. Not long after, the 3-county chase started rolling.
Sheriff Cecil Cantrell says Monroe County deputies spotted a suspicious vehicle at a convenience store in Hamilton. That vehicle ended up being stolen. Investigators say the person inside of the vehicle was the suspect, Jacob Ray Kahn.
He did not shoot at us, but he did. He rammed our vehicle, actually caught it by the front bumper guard up there, turned the vehicle all the way around. Of course, I had a deputy in the vehicle, and it put us in harm's way at that point.
The sheriff says that's when deputies knew they had to do something to try and stop Kahn.
One of the other deputies saw what was going on, what he was doing, so he shot a couple of his tires out, hoping he would get stopped there. But actually the chase came up here. We figure somewhere around 30 miles or further.
That's when the truck crashed here in Vernon, Alabama, just a few miles across the state line. After the crash, the suspect fled into the woods. He was caught shortly after allegedly breaking into a home near where he crashed.
It's early in the investigation, but he's going to be charged with several different things.
Earlier today, Cantrell released the name and picture of a man he said was a suspect, but that person, Dakota Holcomb, has been cleared by law enforcement in this investigation.
All right, thanks very much, Jory. A bizarre story for sure. Well, a 2-day string of possible arson and burglary, check this out, at a Lowndes County business could be tied to a multi-county investigation. The Sheriff's Department says that it happened at P&R Scrap, that's on Highway 45. Sheriff Mike Arledge says that the first report came in yesterday morning about a fire at the office building. Later that evening, deputies responded to the business for a burglary. Then this morning, a third call came in about a second fire at P&R Scrap. About 20 minutes later, a report was received about a car fire near that business. The department says that everything is still under investigation. However, they cannot confirm right now if those events are related at this time. Well, they thought it could never happen in their neighborhood. Tonight, neighbors in Itawamba County are praising law enforcement for ending a hostage standoff. As we reported last night, a 10-year-old child tonight is safe with her mother, unharmed after being held by an apparent armed gunman. Well, it was a standoff that lasted more than 30 hours. Our Cash Matlock, he's been covering this crisis since we first learned of this story Saturday. Today, he went back to the neighborhood to talk with the people who live there. Cash.
Family members say Paul Blackburn was at home with his daughters when an apparent altercation took place with his friend Nathan Shepard. Itawamba County Sheriff Chris Dickinson says Blackburn was the father of the 10-year-old and a second child escaped and managed to call 911. The sheriff says Blackburn most likely died from a gunshot wound at around 1 p.m. on Saturday. The MHP SWAT team entered the house just after 9 p.m. on Sunday. The suspect was dead and the child unharmed. It is a story that has rocked the small community.
For the most part, Alice Hall Road in Golden, Mississippi is a relatively quiet neighborhood. The people who live here never expected to witness a hostage situation involving a 10-year-old child.
I was really worried for the little girl. That's the first that we heard. There was a small child being held hostage. And so that, I have kids of my own, and that was what worried me.
I'm so happy that the girl is released. Unfortunately, whatever happened, I mean, it's really sad. But I was praying really hard for that little girl because you never know what was going on in there.
What was going on, according to the sheriff, was a fight between 2 men that turned deadly. And that's when the suspect, Nathan Shepard, held off law officers for hours on end.
I was very shocked at the length. Heard it on the news, and I thought, oh, maybe a couple hours. And then, you know, you would check back every few hours, and it would still be going on. So, yeah, that was shocking.
Members of the community all agree on one thing. They are glad to see the little girl safe.
Praise the Lord. I think we had a lot of people praying for her and her safety, and I'm really happy that she was able to go home to her family.
And when it comes to the officers involved with the rescue, the community is thankful.
I think our law enforcement officers do a good job at keeping us safe. So, yeah, I think that was just a once in the blue moon thing. So yeah, I do feel very safe.
I just think they've done a good job.
Now, the investigation into what exactly led to the situation is ongoing.
A car crash damages a gas line at a busy Columbus intersection this afternoon. Now, the accident happened near the Military Road, 13th Street and 10th Avenue North intersections. A Columbus police spokesman says the driver of the vehicle left the scene. The intersections were shut down until crews could assess the situation. Good news, no evacuations were ever ordered. Atmos Energy worked to repair the line. Columbus PD is still investigating that accident. New at 6 tonight, the University of Mississippi's Athletic Foundation will be returning a large chunk of a $400,000 gift from a donor involved in a Ponzi scheme. A federal receiver appointed to recover money for investors says that the university has agreed to return $310,000 given to the foundation by Arthur Lamar Adams. Adams has pleaded guilty to his involvement in a $100 million Ponzi scheme. He reportedly gave $400,000 to the Athletic Foundation over 10 years and just received over $50,000 in, quote, tangible benefits, unquote, including tickets to various events. The university has already returned nearly $40,000 for unused football and baseball tickets. Neither the university nor the foundation were involved in this scheme. The time now to toss things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson with a first look at our forecast. Hey, Keith.
Some wet and stormy weather across our region today. Currently, most of the rain on the way out. Temperatures, those remain mild, anywhere from the mid-50s in Oxford to around 60 in Columbus and at GTR. So the showers have been moving through, but a lot of that now shifting off to our east. Still a little bit of rain here as we get into the early evening hours. Most of the rain, though, well off to our east, and we'll have a nice little dry slot come on in for later on this evening. Right here, a lot of 50s as you venture on out for New Year's Eve festivities. By midnight, around 54 degrees, lows tonight down into the 40s. Pretty nice on New Year's Day relative to what's coming midweek to late week. More rain on the way, Scott. The full details on that in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks very much, Keith. Well, for some, New Year's Eve means staying in with friends to celebrate. While for others, it means hitting the town to ring in the new year, and that can mean business, a business boom that is, for those who drive others for a living. Our Blair Schaefer was in Starkville today to find out how they're making sure others get home safe this holiday. Blair.
Scott, Uber is a fairly new thing for the city of Starkville, but residents, visitors, and drivers are taking full advantage of this service. I spoke with a driver this morning about his experience with Uber so far, as well as what his New Year's schedule looks like.
Christopher Taylor is one driver that has seen a difference in Starkville since Uber came to town.
I've seen it from two drivers where me and a couple other people was always getting all the calls, to now you turn it on and you see 10, 12 drivers out there, mostly college students.
Taylor has a full schedule to bring in the new year, but he doesn't plan to go on the clock until late.
Oh yes, I expected myself and another driver would be driving. We'll go to wash night service first, and then after wash night service, that's when the people get tanked up anyway, because it'll be over about 12:15 to 12:30. And so you just start picking them up, dropping them off.
While it's likely to be a busy night, Taylor's not worried. He says most riders know the rules.
Drunk people are the easiest one, because they're not ready to pay for the fare, and they know if they do anything mess up your car, then they got to pay for it, and that's almost $100.
Taylor says the cash is nice, but in the end, he just wants to keep people safe.
Taylor has driven for over 2 years in Starkville, and he already has regular clients booking for 2019. Scott.
All right, thanks very much, Blair. Well, while